Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take a look a little closer at one of my favorite handguns in my collection. It's the Walther PPK. This is the PPK-S model. A little bit different than the PPK. We'll talk a little bit about that when we go through it. But I want to do a little tabletop review on the Walther PPK-S. Tell you some of the things I like about it, some of the things I don't like personally about it. But I think it's a fantastic handgun. It's got a lot of history with the James Bond gun. So let's take a look at it on the tabletop and do a little review and take a look a little closer at it. See you on the tabletop. Okay, and welcome back to the tabletop. Let's take a little closer look at the Walther PPK-S. This is a Smith & Wesson version that is a little bit different than maybe some of the other ones you've got, but I think Smith made some really nice handguns. So this is the PPK-S. It does come in a PPK as well. Main difference is the capacity. You're looking at a 6-round capacity in the PPK, whereas this one will come with a 7-round capacity. And both of those are +1. So let's take a little closer look at just the overall of it. It is an all steel gun. This is all stainless. In this case, you can get them in a blued version. It is a blowback pistol, and it is in 380 ACP. I do know they make these in a 22 LR as well, but this is a 380 ACP version. And what the blowback design is we'll take a look at it a little closer, but it's got the barrel affixed to the frame instead of being a if you're familiar with the striker fire guns where the barrel lifts, this is actually attached to the frame and the slide goes straight back, which makes it a little bit more inherently more accurate because that barrel does not move. It's in the same location every single time. This is a single action double action, or double action single action. So you do have and this has been safety checked prior, you do have a long heavy double action pull. It is not light. It is not easy, but it's a strong double action. But it's when you look at the single action, it's a lot lighter, very easy to shoot. It does have a safety decocker. Always be careful though when you're decocking. I always recommend putting it in a safe direction. It's also a safety, but with the long double action pull you have on this, I would not myself carry it with the safety on. It's awkward to get that safety off in an emergency if you were carrying this, but I would use it as a decocker for sure, and then just place it back on. Again, that double action is super heavy. It does have a little bit of a beaver tail. Some of the old original models of the PPK didn't, and you'd get a lot of people that had a lot of slide bite because of that. But this way you can get your hand up there pretty well and get that slide to ride over your hand. It does have very small sights. Take a little closer look at them. I don't know how well we can see them on the camera, but they are small fixed sights. The back you can replace if you wanted to. This has a little tiny, they're so small, a little tiny orange dot and a tiny bar in the back with the groove, so you can see the front sight post, but you put the dot over the bar. And then you've got some serrations here to help with any anti-glare. The front sight is not removable. So if you did want to replace sights on this, you'd have to grind that down and get with a gunsmith to put something else on there. The rear sight though is adjustable and can be replaced. It does have a magazine release up here on the trigger guard area. It's not where most people are used to them. Most of the times you'll see them down here on the lower half of the trigger guard. This is up on the upper high side, which I guess keeps it out of your way, but it's a little bit more difficult to reach out to. The original gun comes with plastic grips, and they may be a little bit thinner than this as well. I've just replaced them with these, I believe they were Altamont grips, a little flowery design. I just like the wood and the stainless steel together. They do need a little trimming though. The slide does ride a little bit on the wood. I just have to trim back a little bit of the wood there to get to fit really good. So one of the biggest pluses, or two of the biggest pluses I would say. One is that it is a blowback design and that barrel is attached to the frame. The second being that it's very heavy. It is a single stack 380, but it's very heavy. So it really helps out with that recoil on a snappy little 380. If you had some smaller like the Glocks or the M&Ps, they're going to be a little more snappy just because of the size of them. With the weight of this being all stainless steel, it is a very heavy gun. I'll put some notations in here as well on some of the statistics on it if you want to know the weights and the lengths and all those kind of fancy details. I will put them in the video here as we go along. It does have a very easy disassembly. It's a little bit different as well. You pull the trigger guard down and just kind of move it over to the side there. Just place it off to the edge and it'll hold it open. You slide back and lift it straight up. So you can go back, up, and it comes straight down off. And there you go. Now it's disassembled. You can pull the spring off. You can get different springs if you need them. But like we were discussing earlier, this barrel is affixed to the frame. So you have no adjustment to it. When that goes in, that's why it's inherently quite a bit more accurate. So much easier to clean as well. You know, pulling all that stuff out of there. It's just two pieces really to clean. You can get down in there very easily. The assembly is actually just as easy. You're going to slide it back over, get your spring right up in the front, slide it back over the top and back on. Move your trigger guard back into place and now you've reassembled it. Very easy gun to work on, very easy gun to shoot. I guess one of the things that I don't like about it, if it came down to me personally, is that the beaver tail here, and I know the PPK has more of a wraparound grip. There's not that steel strap that you see here. On the PPK, it's a little shorter because it's a 6-round capacity, but the actual grip itself wraps around the back. That may help a little bit. What gets me is my webbing of my hand as it sits up in here when you shoot it. Just these angles here of the steel really like to dig in and wear on the webbing of your hand. You don't get the slide bite, but I do get that really uncomfortable feeling, if you will, just in the web of my hand. But it's very easy to clean, very easy to maintain, especially in the stainless. The magazines we'll take a look at here in a second. Again, the sights are very small, but when you're looking at a gun like this, you're not looking at some long ranges. This is something you're going to keep in your pocket. It's close range and more of a point and shoot type of scenario. And with these sights, they're perfectly fine for what you're trying to do with it. If you're trying to do some long range shooting, this is not the gun to be doing, especially with that heavy double action pull. You don't want to be trying to shoot anything long range with that. Okay, if we take a look at the magazines, they come with two different magazines. One is a flush fit magazine. They're both steel magazines. They're very solid, nice steel followers. They work well. The only thing I've had really, again, that I had with most 380s, to be quite honest, is if I'm using some steel cased ammo that is cheap, because I like cheap ammo. But I have a couple issues with some of those. But using brass ammo, I've never had any problems with feeding at all. They're very nice magazines. They have the holes and your round count there so you can see very easily. The other one comes with a little finger extension, pinky extension. You still have the same markings, the same steel followers, all that's still there. And if we look at it inside the gun, you get that full 3 fingers on there. It catches, and I have fairly large hands, it catches all 3 fingers on there. So it works well. The flush mount, it's really going to give you the 2 fingers. You're not going to get that third one on there. It's just enough with that pinky extension to get your extra hand on there, extra finger on there. But they're both great. I haven't had no problems with the magazines feeding. I did get this used, and so I did have to clean it up a little bit. The mags were pretty well beat up. I shined them up, lubed them up, and they were fantastic again, only with the exception of the steel cased ammo, which I actually have problems with in every 380 I've ever shot. So this is no exception. But with regular ammo, any reputable brass ammo, I've never had any issues with. Hey guys, I hope you like the tabletop and the little quick review of the Walther PPKS. This is one of my favorite handguns, like I said. Not necessarily the best shooting handgun for me, but it's a fun handgun, and it's one that's got a lot of history that's fun to shoot. I do have some things about it that I mentioned. For me, the comfort isn't quite there, but shooting it as a 380 ACP with a big heavy handgun makes it a fun thing to shoot. And again, just knowing it's a James Bond gun is really cool to have in your collection and fun to shoot. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'd love it if you like and subscribe. And if I don't talk to you again, have a happy new year, and I hope everybody had a great Christmas. We'll talk to you again soon.